Welcome to Irish Bill's Twist on Sports here as we get ready for homecoming week at Navarre. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing good. How about you, man?
I'm doing great.
Good to see you. Clean
Rain,
shaven?
wind,
I like that.
or Hurricane Zeta cannot keep Irish Bill's Twist on Sports away.
We were like the post office.
We always deliver.
I wish we were funded like the post office.
For a while there, we were like the quarterback for Georgia. Stetson the fourth, he was called the mailman.
Yeah.
He didn't deliver against Alabama.
That's Carl Malone, man.
Yeah.
Remember Carl?
All too well, Louisiana Tech.
Right. Correct. Yep.
And what a great program they had when he was there, and then Hall of Fame career for the Utah Jazz.
Jazz.
He had a guard there, a little guard named Stockton that he played with his whole career out of Gonzaga. What a great talent both those guys were.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. We're going to add a little bit of a twist as part of our show to our slate tonight. Mine will be towards the end of the show this evening, and Bob's got something that he wants to talk about. Has something on his mind as well. We're going to get right into it, but first we want to thank Randy and Honey Smith for allowing us to come into Culver's in Navarre and broadcasting live on IrishBillSports.com. Mm-hmm. This is Irish Bill's Twist on Sports, year number 7. Lucky 7.
Lucky 7 in 2020.
Oh, we need everything to counterbalance 2020, don't we?
we got coming up that we got a blue moon. We're in 2020. We got a hurricane, and we got Halloween, and us teachers are hiding under our desks.
You know what? You say blue moon. We had a ice cream drive-through stand in a little town. I think it was east. Kind of southeast of us from my hometown in Kendallville, Indiana, called the Blue Moon.
Okay.
Yeah. And they actually, remember the Blue Moon ice cream that they used to have?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very tasty. It was just basic. It was vanilla-colored vanilla ice cream.
There you go.
So, this Irish Bill's Twist on Sports, we got to talk. We have a game to talk about. Last week, we didn't have a game to talk about. What
correct.
A game it was.
Wow.
The second half, anyways.
The last 2.5 minutes were just unbelievable football.
We had a record breaker last week. Mm-hmm. Preston Penton, congratulations, as he breaks the school record for the longest field goal of 48 yards. Stephen Householder did it back in 2010 on varsity, and my son Brady did it in 2014 on junior varsity. So both 43 yards was the longest previously, but congratulations to Preston Penton, with new record holder at Navarre for longest field goal.
Super duper. That's the way to come back from being out.
The Raiders didn't have much offense going into that fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. In fact, Andalusia had fought back, but before we get to the exciting ending, we got to go over the scoring in the first half. At 11:01, the Raiders got to short field thanks to a 78-yard kickoff return by Jabari Mitchell.
Yep.
And a 15-yard pass from Jason Deal to Trent Hall. Penn's kick was good. After one, that was the only score of the first quarter. It was 7-0 Navarre. And right as the clock read zeros, Penton from 48 yards. And coaches have 47, but I went back and looked at the video, and they set it down at the 38. And it's 10 yards back for the end zone, so it was a 48-yarder in my book.
And he had enough leg. It probably could have gone longer, I think.
Most definitely. That was all the scoring in the first half. In fact, on the night, the Raiders scored 9 points with no time on the clock. We'll get to that one in just a second.
Crazy.
In the third quarter, Andalusia finally got on the board at 5:52, a 2-yard run by Jake Wilson. Gage Theus added the extra point. We're 10-7 going to the fourth quarter. And we head to the fourth at 2:27. Andalusia, the Bulldogs, would get their first lead on a 31-yard pass from Wilson to Chip Morgan. They played up to that point, and they set up that play perfectly, did they not, Bob?
Oh, yeah. They kept running to basically knock the clock time down, and then did a play action and a jump pass. Very well executed, very well played.
Wide open, 31 yards out. They had the extra point, 14-10. And the way that the Raiders weren't moving the ball, we were a little nervous going into that last drive, but they took over on their own 20 with a touchback kick by Theus on the ensuing kickoff. The Raiders got down to a fourth down conversions. A big pass from Marquise to Davion Hardy, who stepped up big in that last drive.
Sure did.
And on the night, his first 2 catches of the season. The Raiders would then get a 15-yard penalty to their benefit before Marquise hit Trent Hall for a 25-yard pass down to the 30. On the next play, we thought they were going to run. As Marquise was rolling out to the right, I could hear you in the camera say, "Run!" But coming across from left to right was Jabari Mitchell. And he threw a little flip pass to Mitchell. He took it down the 4. He took a big hit at the 4-yard line, did a somersault. So the Raiders had first and goal at the 4. The clock did stop as time was winding down. They went up to snap the ball, and unfortunately, Zach Marquise fumbled the ball, so they had to get down on it. There we go. We got a song to match that one too. But so they have to hurry as the clock, I think, at this point is down to it's getting close to 12. So they set up, they spiked the ball, and now there's 3 seconds left on the clock. And everybody in the stands is standing on their feet at that time. We're standing on our feet. Marquise, they call a pass play in the left end zone, kind of familiar with the pass play of a couple of years ago when they found Tyler England in that corner on a 4th down conversion against Pine Forest for the win. But this one would go off the fingertips of their intended receiver, and the little yellow hanky came onto the field. I went back and watched it a couple times. If I was the official, from my angle, I would probably not thrown the flag. But he had the better view on it, and he saw in a perfect angle, so he called it, and you got to have to give him the benefit of the doubt. So it gave Navarre 1 untimed down, and it was 0-0-0 on the clock, on the play clock. There was one time for one play, and they set up the perfect play call for the play, and they ran off right tackle and into the end zone for Rivera's 7th touchdown of the season and the Raiders' 16-14 win.
Yeah, and I think we totally got Andalusia by surprise. If you go and look back at the tape, none of their linemen were down.
No, they were all up,
standing, and so I don't know what was that. I can't remember. I think Andalusia had a timeout left. Something like that you may want to call to make sure you have your defensive setup where you want it. And like I said at the end of the game, it was Andalusia's job to stop us, and they didn't.
And they did, and the Raider got the victory, and chaos ensued afterwards. The Andalusia faithful and the Andalusia Bulldogs were not too happy with the way the game finished at all, but a win is a win is a win, as they say. The Raiders will move on, and they'll host another Alabama team this week. A little bit tougher team coming into Bennett C. Russell Stadium this Friday night as the Enterprise Wildcats come in with a 7-2 record, ranked number 17 in the state of Alabama according to Max Preps, and should be a great matchup for homecoming night. The Raiders will have the Big Bubbas back on the line of scrimmage this week and a few of their defensive players. The one thing I noticed last week, we didn't have Nate Herring on the defensive side of the ball last week as well. So, but the Big Bubbas will be back, and they'll be ready to go as this is their last regular season home game of their career.
Yeah, and it's always very emotional. A lot of stuff going on this week at school, dress-up days. I think they're going to have a pep rally.
It's supposed to be a beautiful day out Friday afternoon, Friday evening.
Maybe some cold weather coming in, Bill.
Cooler. I like it.
Oh, man.
Maybe you won't be sweating up on top of the press box for a change. I figure by now it would be cool enough to – because sometimes we have to wear jackets up there as we get into October, early November. But not this year. Not so far. Thank you, 2020. Yeah, I just growled at 2020.
2020, yeah.
What a great night and some great offensive. Well, the numbers were down, but Zach Marquise was our Ian Lockwood player of the game as he drove the Raiders 80 yards in the last 2:27 for the victory. Our offensive players of the game, Trent Hall from Navarre and Jake Wilson from Andalusia. Our defensive players of the game, Grady Kelly and Devin Wright Grady with another sack to his credit, now 22 in his career. And Devin had 13 tackles on the night, as well as Mickey Domino has 13 tackles as well.
Wow.
And also pitching in was Derek Percival. So a nice defensive performance for the Raiders, as they were +3 in the turnover category, as they forced 3 turnovers, didn't turn it over once themselves.
And what also factored into the Raiders played with, they had a lot of players up from JV because the junior varsity did not have a game, and the offensive and defensive staff of Navarre wanted to sub players in on offense and defense to keep everybody fresh. And some of those names like Percival, who we haven't heard much from this season, just in spots, really stepped up. And so there was a silver lining to perhaps players being out.
Most definitely, and you saw Grady Kelly going both ways, playing Ironman football, defensive and offensive line. Lucas Marvel, usually a defensive lineman, was on the offensive side of the ball as well. BK Cass come up from JV, handled the center. He had kind of a rough night till that last drive, and then they put it all together in that last drive, and that was enough to pull out the victory. And our special teams players of the game, we had to go with 2. Preston Penton, the new record holder on long field goal. And what a return night for Jabari Mitchell.
Yeah, he's certainly become a threat that teams will have to look out for.
Well, it's 2 returns, 132 yards, a 78-yard return, and a 54-yard return on kickoffs.
Nothing sexy about it, just right up the middle.
Both of them, right up the gut.
Right.
And the Raiders did a great job of blocking to allow that to happen. And like I said, Wright and Domino with 13 tackles, Percival with 9, Grady Kelly with 8, Nick Ducati with a nice night, 7 tackles and a sack. The Raiders had 4 sacks on the night and 9 tackles for loss, as they were in the backfield of the Bulldogs all night long.
Yeah, they had great penetration.
They limited the Bulldogs to 258 yards of offense and 33% third down conversion, 268 yards in the game for the Raider defense. Another great performance by the Raider defense, limiting the Bulldogs to 14 points.
Considering everything, with the players being out, it was an awesome effort. Team effort, Bill, I thought, for the Raiders.
Well, it was a tie this past week in our picks, Bob, as we both went 19-5.
Okay.
So we are separated by 1 game through 116 games. Pretty solid. We got a lot of games coming up this week. I even threw a statewide game into this because it's a great matchup coming up this Friday night.
I saw that.
Number 1 in the country, IMG Academy, hosting number 6 in the country, Miami Northwestern, as they held on last week against Miami Central. That'll be I think that was going to be a televised game on ESPN.
Sure it is. It's got to be.
On Friday night. And but we're going to go off. We got 1 game on Thursday night, so we're going to jump right into it. As both of us went 19-5 last week.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. The games that kind of tripped us up last week, both of us took Childs. That was kind of an upset there with St. John
I saw that.
Paul II in the upset there. We also had Crestview over Pace, but Pace wins in double overtime. A big night there. And we both had Weewaw beating Sneeds. And unfortunately, Sneeds made short work of Weewaw and head coach Bobby Johns last Friday night.
Yeah.
But we're gonna press on with this week as we I did have my pen here somewhere. Thank you.
That'll be $5, please.
Put it on my tab. Okay, Thursday night game, we got Gadsden County 2-1 going to Rutherford. Gadsden County having a decent season, but I've only played 3 games.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with Gadsden County on the road.
Gadsden County. I think I will too. Was that used to be Greensboro High School? They combined schools?
Greensboro is actually Liberty County.
Okay.
I found out the only reason on my way home from Tallahassee that's a couple weekends ago as I went over to Bluntstown. You have to go through Greensboro to get to Bluntstown.
Okay.
So it's Liberty County. Right as you come off the highway and go down, it's about 25 miles down the road. You come right into Greensboro. and then you'll you take a left and take a right. I don't know. I've only been through there once.
Yeah,
but I got to where I was going.
I reffed a few games at Greensboro. That's why I ask.
There's not much out there in that area.
No,
but it is a beautiful part of the state of Florida.
It is. We dressed in a portable, I think, as officials that night, and our association had a lot of their games, and I told Coach, I think his name is Robert Jackson at the time, told Coach Jackson if I came back one more time, I wanted a letter G, because we reffed so many times. And they had good football.
That'd be for Grant.
That's true.
Okay, next we're going to jump on over to the SSAC tournament, the North Florida part of the tournament.
Wow.
Sneed's 5-1 at Baker 7-0.
Golly.
It's the Pirates and the Gators.
Man, what a matchup.
You have the running game of Calvin Stringer for Sneed's, and you have the double-headed monster of Joe Brunson and Caleb. All I have to do is look at my Caleb Wagner. As I look up here, don't you love online production?
Last one.
That's defense. Caleb Wagner. I was correct. Yeah, Wagner went for about 190, and Brunson was over 200 again. In fact, Brunson is the number 3 rusher in the state right now. Right behind him, number 4, is a young man from Northview, Jaden Jackson. Had another great week this past week, Bob. This one's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I mean that's a championship game, quality game. I'm going to go with the Baker boys at home.
You can't beat Baker at home. It hardly ever happens. I'm going with them as well. Jefferson County 0-5 heading to Port St. Joe play the Tiger Sharks. I think that's not going to be much of a matchup there.
Yeah,
Tiger Sharks at home.
I agree.
Then we head to Friday night. Number 6, Miami Northwestern, 1-0 in the season. They travel to Bradenton to take on number 1, IMG Academy. And it's just hard to go against IMG Academy.
Yeah, Miami Northwestern opened with another Miami team last
Miami
week.
Central, the 6A state champions.
And Miami Northwestern won that game.
They did I believe it was by a touchdown.
I got to go with IMG.
IMG and as well. Next, we got Enterprise, Alabama 7-2 at Navarre 4-0. Something's got to give here. Enterprise having an outstanding season. This is their last game before they head to the playoffs next week, I believe.
Yeah.
They start their playoffs. Navarre undefeated. Some may call it ugly, but you know what? 4-0 is still 4-0.
Yeah, and we don't know exactly how Enterprise. And this game has been set from the beginning of the year. It was not an add-in game. Nope. And so with the playoffs, are they going to play? It's the old, do they play, do they rest them type thing. I got to go with Navarre. I just have a good feeling about this game.
I am as well.
And
I can't go against my Raiders. Our Raiders.
Plus with the Big Bubba's back.
The Big Bubba's. It's homecoming. The Big Bubbas are back. We're 15 players stronger this week.
Yeah.
Nothing against the play of last week, because I tell you, those guys did a valiant effort with about 3 days' notice of what was going to go down on Friday night. And they somehow managed to pull out the victory. And someone said that the Big Bubbas will be back, and I said, no, the Big Bubbas never left. They were just in a different form.
Yeah,
this past Friday.
1A and 1B. Enterprise is averaging what was the math?
38 points a game.
Right, and giving up maybe 18, 19, 20 points. This is going to be a game where Navarre defense is really going to have to shine. And maybe outscore. Well, of course, if you win,
going to have to outscore them, and you're going to have to score at least 30 points to beat.
I agree.
To beat Enterprise, and hopefully this will be the night. Like I said, this is the last regular season for these young men. last game at home. Next week we'll be on the road at Crestview, and then we'll have a week off, and then the playoffs. So we may have to go catch a Friday night game.
We might have to.
But we'll see when it comes down to it. We're both going with Navarre in this one. You got Niceville, the battle of undefeated teams here, heading over to Milton. Both teams 5-0. And I looked at the latest state rankings. Niceville has moved up to number 3 in Class 7A.
And this is their
13 overall.
And their first road game.
First road game in 6. Isn't that funny how they kind of get a lot of home games? Hey, if you can do it, why not?
And if the teams agree to do it, why not? I
think this is going to be a closer game.
Yeah.
But the one thing I've really been watching with Milton, they have a great passing game, but they have had trouble getting their running game going. And to beat Niceville, you're going to have to control the clock, which means you got to get that running game going, or if not, it's going to be a very long night.
Agreed. And perhaps the best team Niceville has played this year. We thought Mosley would give them a test.
Not.
So you saw. So I think it's going to be maybe a touchdown to a 10-point game, but I think Niceville wins. 3
shutouts for the Eagles on the season. They've outscored their opponents 241-28. They're giving up a little 5.6 points per game. Incredible.
One of the biggest games in Milton recent history. I think that if we weren't doing our game, that'd be a game that I'd love to go watch.
I would too as well. And another big game coming up tomorrow on Friday night. Wakulla going up in class to face Wakulla going down in class to face a team going up in class, the Vernon Jackets. As Wakulla comes to Vernon.
Good Lord.
Friday night. That's going to be a good game Friday night over in Vernon.
Yeah.
And we'll finally probably get to see one K1 Powell play a whole game in that one.
Correct.
But that's down the road. A few of our picks here.
Yeah. So we went with
both going with Niceville.
I believe so.
Yep.
Yes.
Hard to go against our number 1 team in Irish Bill's Super 7 power rankings, and the number 3 team in 7A. Leon 1 and 2 at Rickards. I'm going with Rickards in this one.
They used to be called the Redskins.
Rickards are now, I believe, are the Raiders, are they not?
I think so.
And Leon is the Lions. So I'm going to go with Rickards in this one.
Yep.
You going with the Raiders? Tough to go against the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Pensacola 1 and 3, having a very tough time putting points on the board, and they're going to Pine Forest this week. I look for Pine Forest to right a little bit of their woes here in this game and put a bundle up on the Tigers.
I agree.
Going chalk here so far, Bob. Crestview hosting Escambia 5-0. Escambia finally getting their offense going with that extremely tough defense. But they did lose one of their best defensive players last week. Tabari Taylor went down with injury. I don't know how serious, but he should be back hopefully for that game. I haven't heard any updates on him. They're going to Crestview, which is a tough place to play.
Yeah.
But I think the Gators will walk away with this one.
I agree. One of their first ventures out of Escambia County.
Next, we got Catholic 2 and 3 going to Tate 1 and 3. The Aggies have been struggling to put points up as well, and Catholic's stifling defense, but not much offense. So we could see a lower scoring game here, or we could just see lights out.
Well, they got shut out by Niceville, but they hung with Niceville for a half. I'm going to go with the Catholics.
Me as well. Pace 2 and 2, fresh off a 49-42 win over
Crestview
last week in double overtime, and this week they're going to Choctaw. The Indians just struggling right now as their numbers were low going into the season, and they're starting to feel the pressure and the long season so far for the Indians. I'm going to go with Pace on the road.
Pace, not so fast.
Oh, he
friend.
pulls the Lee Corso on me.
I'm a Viking. Hard to pick Choctaw, but I'm going to pick Choctaw in this game.
Bob going with the Indians and Coach Greg Thomas.
Yep.
great coach over there at
Yeah.
Choctaw. Tough season for Coach. Gulf Breeze, fresh off their first win of the season. I'm not sure if this game's going to be played yet. It's not.
I don't think so.
So we'll pick it just to be safe. If it is played, I'm going with Fort Walton.
Fort Walton had played a game in 3 weeks or more.
But I don't think it's going to be played.
Yeah.
Childs 1-3 at Lincoln, 3-1. Lincoln having another outstanding season. I'm going to go with the Trojans at home.
I agree.
Washington 3-2, finally getting going on offense. West Florida stifling on defense as usual. This should be a great matchup Friday night at West Florida at old Woodham High School.
Right.
Or Woodham, was it Woodham Middle School?
It's Woodham Middle School.
Okay.
Now. Yeah.
They're playing over there now, so should be a great matchup between the Wildcats and the Jaguars on Friday night. I've been going back and forth on this one.
Yeah.
But the offense is really starting to go for Washington. But that West Florida, they just always seem to play tough defense at home. I'm going to go with Washington on the road.
I'm going to go with Washington, too. Offense coordinator E.G. Green, former Viking standout.
State champion with the 1996 Fort Walton Beach Vikings.
Son of the legendary coach of Fort
what
Walton,
an awesome guy.
E.G. Sr.
What an awesome guy.
He, passed away recently, and E.G. Jr. played at FSU.
He did, and then went on and played. He was drafted by the Colts and played for the Colts for a couple of years, and now back in the local area as an assistant coach over in Pensacola. So it's good to have your high school stars that made a name for themselves coming back to the Panhandle.
You know where he sharpened his teeth in coaching?
Was he at Florida State?
No.
Or did he do some high school ball?
IMG Academy.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I got actually a really good, actually my best friend, John Walters. He maintains all of the sports complex down at IMG Academy. He lives down in just off the highway. There's that Ellington exit where they have all the mall and Ellington Mall right in there. He lives in that area. He takes care of all their fields. He's a retired master sergeant and got remarried and moved down to that area.
Where is IMG?
It's in Bradenton.
Okay, yeah.
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 So next we're going to move over to Arnold, and Bay fresh off a win over Arnold took a drubbing last week, 49-0. I'm going to go with the Tornadoes at Arnold at the Abyss.
I'm going to go with Bay as well.
Wakulla, we were talking about this game earlier. Wakulla 5-1 at Vernon 4-0. Vernon hasn't played a game in I think 2 or 3 weeks, and so this is it's tough going into the Jackets, the Yellow Jackets den.
The Nest.
The Nest.
I'm going to go with the Jackets.
I'm going to go with the Jackets, and I'm a closet Jacket fan, so I'm going with Vernon as well.
You've watched a few games there.
I have 2 last year. Next we have FAMU 2-3 going to Godby. I'll take the Cougs in this one.
The Cougs, man.
Then we have North Florida Christian traveling over to Perry and taking on Taylor County, who's 3-3. I'm going with North Florida Christian in this one.
I am too.
Then we have Chipley, the up and down team of Chipley.
Yeah.
But they're facing a very hot team right now in Northview. And you got to travel from Chipley, which Washington County, on over to Bratt, Florida. That is a haul. And I'm going with Northview big in this one, and another big game for Jaden Jackson.
Northview, the Chiefs.
Freeport 3-3 at South Walton. South Walton could put up a lot of yards passing, no running game, and no defense. But I think it will still be enough to beat their county. Freeport's in Walton County, correct?
It is.
So
it is a rival game. It is South Walton's homecoming. This game may not be played. Freeport High School has just been hit with COVID and quarantine, and as South Walton has. But I'll pick South Walton in case the game is played.
We'll put a little asterisk next to that one, sort of like World Series baseball here in 2020.
Yeah.
Little asterisk next to
asterisk, and the Fort Walton game also. We don't know.
Yeah, so we'll put a little
if that one's
asterisk by
going
both of those.
to be played as well.
St. John Paul having a good season, 4-2. They travel to Walton to take on the Braves, who are 2-4. I'm going with St. John to continue their winning streak.
I agree. I think Walton's going to give them a game, though. But I think John Paul surprised everyone last week with they beat Childs. Who did John Paul beat last week?
They beat Childs last week.
Yeah,
7A team.
Are they?
St. John's a 2A team.
Are they looking for a letdown?
I think not.
I don't know. But I'm
Then
going
we
to
have
pick
Mariana
the Catholics.
5-3, getting hot of late, heading to North Bay Haven, take on the 1-5 Buccaneers. I'm looking for Mariana big in this one.
Mariana.
Franklin County 0-4 at Rocky Bayou 1-5. Both teams have really been struggling on the field of play.
Oof.
Franklin County more than the Knights, so I'm going to go Knight. It's going to be a good night.
Tonight.
Rocky Bayou at home.
I agree.
Then we're going to finish up with Lighthouse PCA, fresh off their first win of the season last week. And as they're going to head to Jay. Jay's been playing tough despite their 1-4 record.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with the Royals at home.
I'll go with Jay as well.
They had an old coach there at Jay for the longest time. His name was Elijah Bell.
Elijah Bell.
And
Yeah.
he was a long-time coach, and he was a little bit of history here. Going to throw, as we like to say, throw some knowledge at you. He was part of the reason why they ended up going to 8 classes so that they could create a Class 1A for the rural schools. And you owe a lot of credit to Elijah Bell from Jay for making that happen.
Yeah, we talk to Elijah on Facebook every now and then. He's Facebook friends with Coach Alex Adams, who coached at Navarre. And, Coach Bell could coach the football now.
Yeah, he could. And they had some great talent. I mean, they may not be big on numbers up in Jay and Northview, but I tell you, they have a lot of talent go through those little towns in the northern part of Santa Rosa County and Escambia County. Mm-hmm. And don't forget Okaloosa with Baker as well. I mean, guys, some great programs.
Right.
Great athletes coming out of those schools. Well, there's our high school, which means it's time for us to take our first break here on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. For Seminole Bob and Irish Bill, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track. Well, they're seeing to it that they are properly fed, have good transportation, are making sure that all Raider fans can hear all the exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Navarre Raider Sports is brought to you by Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate, your local real estate connection. With Ursula, you got a positive, helpful partner for buying or selling a home. Ursula can help with all of your real estate needs. Whether in the Florida Panhandle or around the world, her 16 years experience in real estate will work for you with innovative marketing strategies. Thinking about selling your home? Call Ursula for a free marketing analysis to see if you qualify for one of the incentive programs. Call or text 850-642-5711. Email ursula.householder@floridamoves.com or go to householderhomes.com. Go Raiders! Your fans are all behind you at the field or while you're watching at home.
Welcome back to Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. I'm Irish Bill with Seminole Bob, and we're time to go over classifications. And we're going to go each one and just name you the number one teams, unless we have a Panhandle team in that particular classification. In 8A, Seminole stays unbeaten, 6-0. They stay at the top. Bloomingdale is the new team in Class 7A as they jump over St. Thomas Aquinas, who lost to Cardinal Gibbons this past week. Niceville moves up to number 3. Navarre still sitting there at number 14 in Class 7A. In 6A, Miami Central, even though they lost to Miami Northwestern, they're still the number 1 team. Escambia comes in at number 6. In 5A, Miami Northwestern, the number 1 team. American Heritage Plantation, they knocked off. Trying to remember who they knocked off a big team last week as well. Cardinal Gibbons moves up from number 5 to number 1 in Class 4A ahead of Bulls. In 3A, Chaminade Madonna, they're 4-1. They're the number 1 team. In 2A, Champagnat Catholic 5-2. They're still the number 1 team there. And in 1A, Madison County ruling the roost once again in Class 1A. They're followed by Vernon and Baker at 2 and 3. And Port St. Joe comes in at number 8. I was looking over the Max Preps top 25 high school rankings earlier today, and there's 4 teams from the state of Florida in the top 25, only to be outdone by 1 state. Can you imagine which state that is?
California?
Texas. Texas with 6.
Wow.
Alabama with 1. New Jersey with 1. Who would have thought there? Indiana with 1. Ohio with a couple. But Texas with 6. They have the most out of the top 25. Currently, IMG Academy is number 1 from out of the state of Florida. Northwestern comes in at 6. Miami Central comes in at number 17. And Cardinal Gibbons, fresh off their upset of St. Thomas Aquinas last week, 17-10. They move into the top 25 at number 24. Now it's time for Irish Bill's Super 7 Panhandle Power Rankings and our Players of the Week.
Okay.
Not much change in the large schools. Niceville stays at 1, Escambia 2, Navarre 3, Milton 4. 5, 6, and 7 have been interchanged and intermingled. 5 is West Florida, 6 Washington, 7 Mosley. And we had a little bit of movement, but not much in the small schools. Baker stays at 1, Vernon at number 2 for the last couple of weeks. Sneads moves up to number 3 with their win over Weewa. Northview with a big win over Jay moves up to 4. Catholic looking to drop down to number 5. Port St. Joe at 6. Mariana 7. And that's your small schools in Irish Bill Super 7 Panhandle Power Rankings. Our Player of the Week, might as well put it on a recording because it's the same guy as last week.
Yep.
Northview's running back Jaden Jackson makes it back-to-back weeks, and he is our Offensive Player of the Week as he had 12 carries, 347 yards on 12 carries, which equates to about 28 yards a carry.
Yep.
So another great night, 4 TDs and a 34-15 win over Jay. Our defensive player comes from Milton. Linebacker Chase Morgan contributed 15 tackles, of which 4 were solo, 11 assists, and 3 sacks. and a 21-10 win over Mosley. So congratulations goes out to Jaden Jackson and Chase Morgan, as they are our offensive and defensive players of the week. Another great week. In fact, if Jaden Jackson wasn't toting the ball for the Chiefs, this young man from South Walton would have been my player of the week. Kemper Hodges had another great week. 25 of 42 passing, 337 yards, 4 touchdowns. And he also carried the ball for 112 yards and 18 carries. Cole Amundsen with another 300-yard game. South Walton's Cade Roberts, another 100-yard, 9 receptions, 169 yards, 2 scores. Nice night for Demarion McNulty out of Niceville, 8 receptions, 123 yards. A lot of defensive efforts out here, but let's hit the running backs first. Joe Brunson over 200 yards again. He's averaging 204 yards a game.
Wow.
Gadsden County, John Terrius Thomas had 168 yards. Caleb Baker, the running mate for Joe Brunson, with 164. And Baker even had a third one over 100. Seth Baxa, 7 carries, 101 yards, and a score. So, wow, Baker likes to get it done on the ground. Defensively, Johnny Widnam from Northview led the way with 16 tackles. Crestview and Sneeds, Cecil Purdue, and Jack O'Brien with 15 tackles each. Navarre, Devin Wright, and Mecky Domino with 13 tackles each. And I had to get this one in there at the very end. Baker had 11 sacks last Friday night.
Against Graceville.
Mercy. That was disgraceful.
Oh, that's a
boo. Special teams effort by Jabari Mitchell. 2 kickoff returns, 126 yards. Kickers were getting it done last week. Pete Garrett from Pace, 7 of 7 on extra points. Port St. Joe's Will McCall with 6 for 6. Niceville's Charlie LeBee remains perfect on the season, kicking extra points, but he did miss his first field goal on the season last week in a 35-0 win. Baker's Ethan Edge, 5 for 5. Scambia's Ethan Yuska, 3 for 3 extra points, 4 punts, and he averaged almost 45 yards a punt last Friday night. Milton's Casey Paget, 3 for 3 on extra points, averaged 60 yards per kickoff, so that's 3 touchbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Niceville's Josh Hamel, not Hamel, I believe that is, Hamel.
Right.
He had 5 kickoffs, averaged 68 yards per kickoff. So that tells you all 5 touchbacks.
And don't forget Preston Penton.
And Preston Penton, a new Navarre record holder with longest field goal of 48 yards. So your number 1 team, Niceville, in large schools, Baker in the small schools. And our offensive player of the week, Jaden Jackson from Northview. Second time he's been selected in the last 2 weeks. And our defensive player from Milton, Chase Morgan. Job well done by those guys.
Absolutely.
Now we're going to move on to our – you messing with my computer over there?
Yeah. I'm contacting Sweden. No, I'm kidding.
And our good buddy over there, Tim King, checking in. He is Darkwing Jr. on YouTube. So I remember he's been our camera person for a while, and unfortunately for coronavirus reasons, looks like we are buffering a little bit here.
I screwed up.
It's still excellent connection so far. We're still good.
Sorry about that, Chief.
No worries.
Sorry about that, Chief. Get smart.
Yeah, I love that show. The original version, not the movie that came out afterwards. It was original. Missed him by that much. Now we're going to jump on over to the college games. We've got some good games coming up this week. But at first I have to tell you who won last week.
I have a feeling you kicked my rear end.
It's just the opposite. You kicked my rear end last week. You went 16-8, and you went 16-5. I went 13-8. So you gained 3 games on me last weekend.
Oh, there you go.
And you are now 2 games behind me in the college games, 1 in high school. But the big games that we missed last week were we both took South Carolina on the road. Mm-hmm. We both mistakenly took FSU on the road at Louisville. And Virginia Tech at Wake Forest. I did not see that one coming. And then we also missed the Auburn. We didn't really miss that game. The officials gave Auburn another victory. That's 3 on the season that they've had a hand in their victories.
Yeah, may have saved Gus Malzahn's job too.
Ooh, Lucky Charms. They must be eating their Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious.
Magically delicious.
So we're gonna jump on over here, and I missed the. You took Michigan. You went with the blue, and they won, and you went with Houston on the road at Navy, and there's one difference. And I took a UAB at home, and you went with the Raging Cajuns, and they benefited you that last Friday. Actually, that was last Friday night. Mm-hmm. So let's go on to this game. So we got a Thursday night game in California at Fresno State as Dante Wright and the Fighting Rams head on to Fresno. And I think they're the Bulldogs.
They are.
So both teams playing their first game on the season. Fresno State is a tough team to play at home. Mm-hmm. I want to go with Dante Wright in this one, but unfortunately I'm going to go with the Bulldogs at home.
The Bulldogs are actually favored by 3. I'm going to go with Dante.
You're going with the Rams on the road. In fact, let's pull up the point spreads here so we know what we're looking at as we go in here. Switch over to Saturday. We got another matchup on the Marshall FIU game has been canceled for Friday night. The Wisconsin-Nebraska game has been canceled, so we're going to have to just mark that one out. So we're going to go Marshall, and that one's out too. Minnesota at Maryland. Not a good effort for Thria in his debut for the Terrapins, as he threw 3 picks in the loss last week to Northwestern. Minnesota with a tough loss at home. A big loss at home to Michigan. Michigan looked really good.
Maryland's actually favored in this game. I'm going to go with Minnesota.
I am going with the Golden Gophers as well. Next, we move to Saturday. Boston College 4-2 at number 1 Clemson. You want to know the spread here, Bob?
31.
31. I think I'm going with Clemson.
I'll go with Clemson.
Well, I was listening to the Bill King show this morning, and they were talking about Arch Manning. You know who Arch Manning is, the sophomore grandson of Archie Manning and the son of Cooper Manning.
Cooper, yep.
And one of the highly touted quarterbacks. I think he's the number 2 quarterback in the 2023 class. And they're talking about where possibilities he may end up. I mean, nothing's out there. Because the Mannings are keeping it very tight-lipped and everything, they're not saying anything, but they're talking possibly LSU as number 4. This one surprised me. Duke. You know why Duke?
Because the head coach.
Their relationship with David Colquitt.
Yeah.
The second was Ole Miss, because that's where Eli and Archie played at.
Right.
Number 1 was Clemson. I did not see that one coming, but that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Especially because Trevor Lawrence will go on away from this year. They do have the ukulele kid that's going to be stepping in next year. But now they're getting 2 or 3 years of these players, and they're gone, which could be perfect timing for Dabo to bring in Arch Manning to be a Clemson Tiger. Wow.
So Florida Atlantic wasn't on the list?
No, not at all. And neither was Florida State.
Yeah, well. Or Notre Dame.
Or Notre Dame. I would love to have Arch Manning at Notre Dame.
I would too.
But next we're going to move on to Notre Dame at Georgia Tech.
Good segue, by the way. You're welcome.
You like that, huh?
I do.
Georgia Tech gives up 73 to Clemson. Notre Dame quite is not. They're a little bit more offensive challenged than Clemson is. But I still look for Notre Dame to win this one, as they are
30+ at least.
They are 20-point favorites. I'm going to go with the Irish.
That's about right. Their offense goes through their quarterback.
He does. Ian
with
Book.
His legs. They better pray he doesn't, get injured.
Well, they had a big appearance last week from a Northwestern graduate transfer. Skowronek stepped up last week with 2 touchdowns for the Irish last week. Another weapon for the Irish, but I'm taking Notre Dame in this one.
Yep, and they had a new Supreme Court justice.
Another victory for the Irish and our country.
Oh, she's
something else. Her record is. I mean, how can you not like this judge?
Amy Coney Barrett
Notre
finished
Dame Law School.
Taught there for 15 years, but she finished first in her class. And I was explaining to my civics kids today, that's a 4.0 literally through
how many years?
Yeah. A couple of years, 2, 3. I don't know how long law school is, but at least 2 or 3. And then she gets to clerk for Antonin Scalia.
Wow.
Holy cow.
We know that name, don't we? He's well known for his was he not the one that was shot on the softball field when they were playing the game in Washington?
That's a similar name. That was a senator or representative.
I get those names mixed up between
Antonin Scalia died in his sleep in Texas.
Okay.
Anyway, so so lots of victories for Notre Dame.
Look at us dropping knowledge once again. Dropping knowledge. I'm just kind of coming along for the ride.
But
next, we're going to move over to number 5, Georgia. Will there be a hangover after the Bama loss? Because a lot of times when you play Alabama, you get kind of beat up a little bit.
Yeah.
But they did have a bye week last week. They did beat the bye. So they're
covered, huh?
So they still only have one loss. They're 3-1 on the season. And they're going to Kentucky, which has been Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde this year.
And Georgia's got Florida next week in the cocktail party.
They will not look ahead. They will dismantle the Wildcats this weekend.
They're favored. It was a huge spread on that game.
Let's take a look here.
17.
Where am I looking here?
This is definitely a trap game, if there ever was a trap game. You, like Bill said, coming off a loss. 15. Coming off a loss to Alabama, and they got Florida next week. Coach better have them focused, or this Kentucky team can beat you.
Do you think this is the game that Kirby finally brings out JT Daniels? And instead of
JT Daniels,
the quarterback that transferred in from USC,
could be. I'm going to go with Georgia in a close one.
I want to go. My good friend, the Georgia dog, who's a huge Georgia fan, and he goes, I kind of figured that Bama would beat him there, but he says we're not going to win a national championship with Stetson Bennett at quarterback. We have to get a more prolific game, as he said, one that can see over the line of scrimmage. And but speaking of the dog and Pac-12 Dave and Nocor and Tiger Mike, we have a special host coming up on Saturday morning on the Southern Gentleman Sports Show. From 9 to 10:30, Tim Tebow is going to co-host our show.
He's coming to the studio.
He's not coming to the studio. He'll be doing it telephonically.
Okay.
But he will be hosting shows, and he will be taking calls from our callers and the questions. And he wants to be known as a co-host of the show. So, hey, whatever Mr. Tebow wants, Mr. Tebow gets.
Well, I mean, and he's ESPN, right?
Yeah.
I think he's on ESPN.
He's with the SEC network. He breaks down the SEC network games. He does kind of like their game day. But we were supposed to have him on this past weekend. Unfortunately, logistics didn't work out, and he was stuck in the airport too long and couldn't get in with us. So the Georgia dog was supposed to talk to his assistant on Monday and get things set up for this weekend. So hopefully from 9 to 10:30 Saturday morning on 100.3 The Ticket, 97.1 out of Pensacola, and We Are Sports Radio and the Southern Gentleman Sports Show, SouthernGentlemanSports.com. You can also listen on SoundCloud as well. So
when are you all doing the special at G.I. Jane's?
That is actually going to be next weekend, from 9 to 1 o'clock for the cocktail party, the world's largest cocktail party. Florida and Georgia next week.
Nice.
So we'll be on from 9 to 1 next week.
Nice.
Tiger Mike and I will be at the studio with Pac-12 Dave, the Georgia Dog, and Nocor down at GI Jades.
Okay.
Off of 98, not too far. And then we'll go out there after the 1 o'clock, and we'll sit there and watch the game for a little bit and take in all the action. They'll be giving away Florida State, Virginia tickets
Saw that.
on Sunday. It's Saturday. It's November the 7th, I believe. And, because Halloween's on the 31st, so then next week, that'd be the 7th. So it's 1 o'clock at GI Jades in Fort Walton. So
Across from City Hall there, I
Yep.
believe. Yep.
and come on out. It'll be a great time. We have a great time anytime all of us get together, and we'd love to see all of you that are a part of our Saturday morning show. But let's get back to some college football picks.
We had to put G.I. Janes in there. For
GI Jades?
Yeah.
Yep. Mississippi State 1-3 at number 2, Alabama. Minus Jaden Waddle. What an awful injury that was. I think they're still going to roll on in this one.
Yeah, Mississippi State's down some players, and as we learned from Scott Moore this afternoon, it was not because of COVID. It's because of defections, players entering the NFL portal or just not wanting to play. And we had surmised some of that when the coach from Washington State came down, and Scott had a great line. They're throwing a mutiny on the pirate ship.
I'm going to go with Bama in that one. I'm sure you are as well.
I am.
Memphis 3-1 as they faced off number 7 Cincinnati, who just did a number last week on Shmoo at Shmoo.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Cincinnati. They're trying to prove that they're worthy of consideration for a top 4. The spread's only 6 in the game at Cincinnati. I believe that's right.
They're playing at Cincinnati, 6.5 points.
6.5, yeah. So that makes sense, a touchdown game, and Memphis, not a pushover.
And I think, did we wake up a sleeping Tiger last week when everybody went against LSU, and they just put a hurting on South Carolina? And we saw new quarterback TJ, I'm trying to think of his last name there, but it's 6'6", 245 pounds.
I saw that, yeah.
Freshman, true freshman. Came in and played a great game last week for the Tigers. Auburn, you're not going to get lucky this week. LSU is going to come to town and take care of the War Eagles Tigers.
Yeah, I hate to root against Nick Brahms. I smell this one coming. I smell Auburn with a letdown. I'm going to go with LSU.
Okay, next we got number 23, Iowa State on the road at Kansas, 0-5. Not much to talk about, a Cyclone victory there.
Yep.
Michigan State 0-1 after they suffer an open seasoning loss at home to Rutgers,
Greg
who
Schiano.
hadn't won a Big Ten game since 2017.
Greg Schiano's return to the Big Ten and his second stint at Rutgers. I'm going to go with
The Wolverines look good at Minnesota
they
last
did. They did.
in the very
blue.
cold temperatures. Next we have number 16, Kansas State at West Virginia. West Virginia lost a tough one on the road last week at Texas Tech. And Tommy Leggett, Navarre alum. I'm going with the K-State team in this one.
Going with the Wildcats of K-State.
They're just one of those teams that are sneaky good.
Yeah, and they'll lose one maybe they shouldn't have. I'm thinking of their longtime coach Bill, and I forgot his last name, who I think he's just retired. I just can't trust West Virginia.
I can't either. I like their new coach up there, Neil Allen, Neil.
Boy, we can't think of names.
God, we're awful tonight.
Neil
Brown.
Yeah.
Neil Brown was at Troy before he got hired at West Virginia. He'll do a great job up there.
Sure.
I'm going with Kansas State in that one. Next, we move over to number 20 ranked Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers.
The Chanticleers. They had a tough game last week.
Playing Georgia State this week. I'm going with Coastal Carolina in this one.
Going with the C-squared.
Number 24, Oklahoma, back in the rankings, 3-2 at Texas Tech, fresh off the upset of West Virginia. I think the Sooners are starting to right the ship on offense.
I think Leggett's going to be very busy Saturday.
Number 17, Indiana. Did I say that? Number 17, Indiana.
We picked it.
At 1-0, at Rutgers 1-0.
Wow.
Rutgers will not go 2-0 in this one.
Indiana wants me.
Lord, I can't go back there.
I'm going to go with the Hoosiers one more time.
Texas 3-2 at undefeated Oklahoma State, number 6, 4-0 on the season. I think the Cowboys' run streak might come to an end this week. Let's see what the spread is here.
Texas gives up a lot of points, and
but Oklahoma State does not score a lot.
yeah,
They're 3.5-point
Hubbard's
favorites.
been down. Hubbard's not been as prolific as he has been in the past.
I think I'm
years.
still going to go with the Cowboys.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys. The one
The only
Cowboys
Cowboy
team that's
beat me
doing
to
well.
it.
That's doing well.
Next, we got Northwestern off to a nice win over Maryland. Start the season, they go to Iowa. One of the best celebrations they have in any college football with the students waving to the patients at the hospital overlooking
Children's
the stadium.
Hospital right
the Children's
behind.
Hospital. What a great atmosphere there.
I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes in a close one.
Yeah, they will not get beat at home. Virginia Tech 3-2 at Louisville. Louisville fresh off a big victory, and the Hokies fresh off a stinker last week at Wake Forest. I'm going with Louisville at home.
Louisville looked great. They showed a lot of speed. Their quarterback is really dynamic, much like your quarterback Ian Booker. Am I saying it right? From Notre Dame.
Ian Book.
Ian Book. He better not get injured, either one of them, and I hope not. But
Malik's his first. I'm having a hard time with
I
the
am
last
too.
names today.
Yeah. Anyway, Malik had a great game through the air and using his feet, scrambling. Please forgive me, Pat Mahomes-esque.
Actually, I would probably go more towards the previous quarterback that played at Louisville, now playing with the Baltimore Ravens.
That's a great comparison. He's
Lamar,
playing for the Ravens.
Lamar
He's
Jackson.
playing for the Ravens, yeah. MVP?
Yep.
I'm going to go with Louisville.
Ohio State 1-0 at number 18. Penn State. Tough loss last week at home. Ohio State got it done. I predicted that game last week 52-14. I was close. It was 52-17.
Are they doing predictions again on the morning show?
We do once in a while. We'll do some predictions. They're still doing the weekly.
Ohio State.
You're going with Ohio State?
Mm-hmm. Boy, Penn State starting at 0-2. Ohio State's Justin Fields. He's going to be
he's
invited.
incredible. 20 of 21 passing last week, the same as the Wisconsin quarterback on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Justin Fields will be playing this week. Graham Mertz will not be playing.
Yeah.
As will the Badgers will not be playing. I'm going with Ohio State in this one as well. Arkansas 2-2 at Texas A&M 3-1. Could we see an upset here? The Razorbacks are playing well under Coach Sam Pittman.
There are many insiders who think A&M could run the table, and they've played their two toughest foes, Alabama and Florida.
I think if they get by this one, they could run the table. I agree with that. But they're not going to get by this one. I'm going with Arkansas.
This is an old Southwest Conference.
It
game.
is.
It isn't.
The old Big Eight.
Yeah. Gosh.
Now we're really dating ourselves.
Yeah, really. I'm going to go with A&M one more time.
Going with A&M.
I think it's going to be a great football game, though. One that I'm going to have to.
Missouri 2-2 played well against Kentucky last week. Florida's been off for 3 weeks. I still got to go with the Gators at home.
Missouri's got one of the best defenses in the SEC. Gosh, I can't see Florida losing.
Florida is
the
a
swamp.
13-point favorite. I know you don't like picking the Gators.
No, which Missouri team is going to show up?
excellent freshman quarterback, Blasiak.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Gators.
I know Robbie in the morning on 100.3, he loves his quarterback for Missouri.
I'm going to go with the Gators.
Next, we have Navy 3-3 as Shmoo 5-1. Look for the Mustangs to get back on the winning track here.
Yep.
North Carolina, number 15, 4-1, another 100-yard game for Michael Carter last week. Having a great season so far at Virginia, 1-4. I'm going with the Tar Heels on the road.
That's probably a 11 a.m. kickoff.
Let's check here. Actually, a 7 p.m. kickoff.
Really?
Playing a night game.
Okay. I'll go still
And North Carolina did not fare very well in their only night game of the season.
Against Florida State.
Yeah.
Williams and Carter are tough to beat. The quarterback is pretty
Sam
good.
Howell. Yeah.
Pretty good. He used his feet last week in the win. I'm going to go with North Carolina.
Next, we move on to Western Kentucky. They're the sacrificial lamb at BYU this week, number 11.
A little biblical reference there, huh?
Yes.
Gonna
You
go.
like that?
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna BYU. I think is better than a lot of people are giving them credit for. Now, have they played anybody? But I'm gonna go with BYU there.
Next, we're going to go in the battle of the blue turf against the wild blue yonder.
Off we go.
I'm going with Boise State on the road.
I'm gonna go with the team that we don't like calling.
No, we don't.
No.
We don't like that.
Boise, yeah. I don't know if they play BYU, but that would be a heck of a game.
Well, now it's time for your message, your rant.
My message.
Let's call it a message.
Yeah, we'll call it
How about your take?
my take.
A twisted take.
My twisted take.
Let me go with the show.
It's kind of like Michael Irvin. I think he's on CBS. Maybe he's on Fox.
What a sharp dresser that guy
He
is.
I like the way he dresses. Come on, man. All right, here's my little rant, and stay with me. It's my twisted take. Excuse me.
Yes.
And it has to do with 4 counties: Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton. Of those 4 counties and middle school sports, guess who doesn't have middle school sports? And
Santa Rosa.
That would be Santa Rosa. Now, I have to put on my glasses for this one because I wrote so small. Total budget size. And I realize that maybe it's philosophy, I'm sure. And what's so stunning is the past 2 superintendents, Johnny Rogers and Tim Rosdick, were both coaches, and then their predecessor, Benny Russell. Benny Russell was a coach as well. And you'd think through the years that they would adopt playing football. Santa Rosa County's school board budget is roughly $375 million and change, and there's no sports. No sports. I think you can start small. Is where I come from. Escambia County has a very similar budget. By the way, Santa Rosa County has 26,000 students. Okay. Escambia County has almost 40,000 students.
More schools.
Definitely more schools. $367 million. So their budget size is similar.
Okay.
Escambia County has limited middle school sports. They have swimming, boys and girls swimming, boys and girls basketball, boys and girls track, girls volleyball, and one school, Ernest Ward Middle, has football. Ernest Ward plays probably with some of the Alabama teams, maybe Jay and the like. But anyway, similar budget size, and 14 more thousand students, and they manage to have middle school sports. Okaloosa County has 27,000 students, very similar in size to Santa Rosa. Their budget is similar, $330 $34,000 and some change.
Or is that million?
And they have the full accompaniment. And I need to add to Escambia County, they have cheer, which is to me is also competitive. Okaloosa County has the full gamut. They have cheer, they have football, they have boys and girls basketball, they have girls volleyball, boys and girls track, boys and girls cross country, boys and girls swimming, boys baseball, girls softball, and boys and girls soccer. Their budget size is smaller with about the same size students.
Does that include teacher salaries and principals?
Oh, everything.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Okay.
And so now, Santa Rosa and Okaloosa are also similar in that a lot of their land is off the tax rolls.
Because of Eglin.
Because of Eglin, right, of the military. When I was on the Okaloosa school board, it was only about 30% was on the tax rolls. And then we started losing A and B money, A money being schools on the base. The federal government would give us money for schools on Air Force bases. And then B money was schools that were near Air Force bases like Shalimar and Longwood Elementary and Meigs Middle and Niceville and the like. Now, the county that I work in, Walton County, it's in a growing county, probably one of the fastest growing counties.
It's a beautiful county as well.
14,000, a little over 14,000 students. Their budget is $131 million. And they have girls volleyball, and this is in middle school now. They have swimming in one school. In fact, the school that I teach at and the swim program that I lead. They have football, baseball, girls softball, boys and girls cross country, boys and girls track, boys and girls basketball, cheer, and boys and girls soccer. So their budget is a third less. So, and you know, we both know Dr. Barber, the incoming superintendent. She's got her hands full coming in, and I think she would be receptive, perhaps, to starting small. Where am I going with this rant? It's time Santa Rosa County's middle schools
Twisted take.
have middle school sports, and that's my twisted take for the night.
A lot of people have been questioning that for quite a while, Bob, and yes, we do have an excellent NYSA program. Pace has the excellent sports youth program up there as well. Milton does as well. But I think it's time as we come into, past 2020, we'll be happy to get rid of 2020. But I think as we're going on in the future, I think we need to consider it.
Absolutely. And even if it's pay as you go, I mean, it's not like we don't have the stadiums. We work in JV football at my school, Emerald Coast Middle. We do have our own stadium, but we play on Tuesday nights. And so the schedules could be doable. Now, they do have an AAU-ish type of boys and girls basketball now in middle school. But it's time.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your take there, Bob. We're gonna head out for our second commercial break, and we'll be with our last segment of the show on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. This Irish Bill with Seminole Bob. We'll be back after this commercial break.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track. Well, they're seeing to it that they are properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can hear all the exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishVilleSports.com.
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Navarre Raider Sports is brought to you by Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate, your local real estate connection. With Ursula, you got a positive, helpful partner for buying or selling a home. Ursula can help with all of your real estate needs. Whether in the Florida Panhandle or around the world, her 16 years experience in real estate will work for you with innovative marketing strategies. Thinking about selling your home? Call Ursula for a free marketing analysis to see if you qualify for one of the incentive programs. Call or text 850-642-5711. Email ursula.householder@floridamoves.com or go to householderhomes.com. Go Raiders! Your fans are all behind you at the field or while you're watching at home.
When this old world starts getting me down and people are just too much for me to face, I climb way up to the top of the stairs and all my cares just drift right into space. On the roof is
Welcome back to the final segment of Irish Bill's Twist on Sports for this week. We're here at Culver's in downtown Navarre, a block and a bridge from a beautiful Navarre Beach, Florida here. It's another Wednesday night, and that means we're only 2 days from kickoff, Bob.
Oh, man, I love it. Another rainy night. And instead of in Georgia, we would say in Navarre.
Yeah. Well, it's moving on up through Louisiana and not up through Arkansas and cutting over, I think, heading up to Georgia and North Carolina by the night's end. Hurricane Zeta can fade on out of here, and
that's a good.
I've been working
like
on. I've been working on that one.
I like that one.
It's time to get over to one of my favorite segments of our show.
Yeah.
Wish we could talk about more of our players, but unfortunately, 2020 has canceled a lot of our players' seasons this year. And let's talk about those that aren't playing this year. Free agent Jordan Leggett. They're 2 weeks away from having their first child, and
that's exciting.
I believe they're having a boy. So I saw a post this morning. They're in their 38th week, so they're getting rather close. So he's still a free agent this year, and I'm sure that's probably a good thing as he starts to getting into fatherhood.
Yeah.
Then Maryville's Bo Herring not playing this year. He's a senior for the Scots. Huntington College, Navarre North, Mark Struck, Daryl Hickson, Garrett Schluter, Kyle Hickman, and Tyler England up there for the Hawks of Huntington College in Montgomery, Alabama. Charleston Southern's wide receiver Quinn Caballero not playing this year. And Harding's Mitchell Hunt, the redshirt freshman for the Bison. It's also the school where Dwayne Carter graduated from.
I know the NCAA granted an extra year. Does that apply to FBS schools?
That's a good question. I think it does.
Yeah, and
I think it's across the board for the whole
I would like
NCAA.
to think that some of these players would maybe want to extend their eligibility, but time will tell.
Well, it's definitely, but those that are playing, well, we got one more that is not playing this year. University of Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns long snapper James Seagrass, he transferred in, he walked on to the U of L program. He's not eligible to play this year, but he'll be a long snapper for the Raging Cajuns. They're having a good season, 4-1 already, 2-1, and I believe they're in the Sun Belt Conference, having a good year. They knocked off UAB last week 24-20. Next, we have Texas Tech defensive back Tommy Leggett. No stats last week, and a 34-27 win. I think he'll take the win over no stats any Saturday night.
I wonder if he was hurt.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I have to go look at the participation to see if he actually got in the game. They'll be hosting Oklahoma this Friday, Halloween Eve.
Yeah.
Actually, not Halloween
No,
Eve.
Halloween night.
Halloween evening, I should say. Excuse me. 7 o'clock kickoff in that one for the season. Tommy has 26 tackles. Running back Michael Carter, what a senior season he's having. They're 4-1 overall, 4-1 in conference play. He had 17 carries for 106 yards and another touchdown, his third touchdown on the season. And he had 2 receptions for 46 yards and 1 kickoff return for 24 and a 48-21 win over cross-state rival North Carolina State. They'll be at Virginia this Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern kickoff, so 7 our time. On the season, Michael with 586 yards on 74 carries, 3 touchdowns, 12 receptions for 132 yards, and 4 kickoff returns, where he's averaging 21.5 yards per kickoff return.
At this pace, he could break 1,000 yards in a
Again, it would be for the second straight year.
Yeah.
Last year he finished with 1,003. And next we have Auburn offensive lineman Nick Brahms. He's a starting center for the War Eagles, and he's a redshirt junior. They're 3-2 on the season. He started in a 35-28 win over Ole Miss. This week they're hosting LSU, a 2:30 kickoff in that one. So it'll be a good game to watch on Saturday.
CBS game. I think probably CBS chose that one.
And getting back on the field finally this week, Ave Maria University offensive lineman LaMarcus Smith. He's a senior there for the Gyrenes. They're 2-1 on the season, and they host St. Thomas at 7 o'clock kickoff this Saturday night. West Virginia defensive lineman Jordan Jefferson did not play in a 34-27 loss to Texas Tech. They're 3-2 on the season. They'll be hosting Kansas State, a noon kickoff this Saturday. No stats on the season for Jordan Jefferson. South Alabama linebacker Josh Carter, he had no stats on a 38-14 win over ULM. That's University of Louisiana Monroe. They're 3-2 on the season in their new stadium. Have you got a chance to see their new stadium?
I have on TV in the game.
Looks like a pretty nice stadium over there.
Yeah.
And they're 2-0 in conference play. They will be at Georgia Southern this week. Actually, tomorrow night, 6:30 kickoff Thursday night game. No stats on the season for Josh. And finally, Dante says, I get to play some football. Colorado State will head to Fresno State this actually, I think
29th.
the 29th.
Is that tomorrow?
Is that a Thursday night?
I think it is.
That is a Thursday night game. So we get to see Dante play on Thursday night.
Yeah. We saw Dante's mom before the game against Andalusia.
So they got their first game. They're going to travel to California to take on Fresno State. And there's your former Navarre Raiders. Where are they at now and how they're doing? Well, I'm going to add my little addition to this program. We're going to do some Florida high school football fun facts.
Okay.
So this week I decided, well, let's start with the running backs. So with Derrick Henry doing a great job for Tennessee now,
right,
as a professional, one of the biggest and best running backs in the NFL. I went searching and I found the rushing yards, the records for a season for Florida, and here's your top 5 and where they stand nationally.
I think we've heard of some of these guys.
We've heard. Yeah. Number 1, Derrick Henry. He had 4,261 yards on 462 carries. his senior year at Yulee. That ranks 5th all-time nationally. He did that in 2012. Number 2 on this list is Travis Henry. I don't think there's any relation there.
No.
He played at Frostproof back in 96. He had 4,087. The only 2 players in the state of Florida that have rushed for over 4,000 yards in a regular – actually, it was for the whole season. And that one ranks 9th all-time nationally. At 3,715 yards, Deshaun Smith played for Nature Coast. 200. He did that in 2015. That ranks 23rd all-time nationally. 3,076, Maurice Wells from Sandalwood in 2003. And Stuart Butler from Lakeland in 2010, 3,043 yards. Well, you're probably asking, well, Bill, who holds the national record? Well, I'm going to tell you, this record has stood since 1950 from Netcong High School in New Jersey. John Gianantonio, 4,750. I've been working on that name too, pronouncing that name. 4,756 yards back in 1950.
70 years.
70 years that record has stood in the country, and wow. Wonder how
And
many
they probably
carries.
played less games too.
Possibly. So that's John Gianantonio.
He's a paisan. He's probably Italiano.
At Netcong, hopefully I'm pronouncing that, high school in New Jersey, 1950.
Okay.
Well, there's the seasonal records. Now we're going to switch over to career. And the state of Florida owns property to the top 2 nationally.
Wow.
Number 1, Derrick Henry. I looked at some of these. His stats are just incredible. His freshman season, he rushed for 2,465 yards, 26 touchdowns. His sophomore season, he rushed for 2,788 yards and 38 touchdowns. His junior year, 2,610 yards and 34 touchdowns. But he elevated that to 4,261 yards his senior year and 55 touchdowns.
Wow.
On his season for 12,124 yards
So
in
total
4 years.
Total touchdowns is
153
Gosh.
in 4 years.
Crazy.
That's almost 40 a year for 4 years.
And so you think Coach Saban knew a little bit about him?
I think he did. And he dipped down into Yulee, which is not too far from I believe, the South Carolina, Georgia. It's right there as you can hit 3 states and like within an hour of each other.
Right.
So he's from Yulee High School. It's north of Jacksonville.
Right.
So he's number 1. Number 2 is Kelvin Taylor. You remember that name. He played for the Gators.
Did.
But he did it in 5 years because he was in small class football. He was able to play 5 years as an 8th grader as well. So, but he had 11,903 yards in his high school career at Glades Day High School from 2008 to 2012. He's second nationally. So Florida holds the top 2 spots in total rushing yards in a career. You'll remember this name, number 3 in the state of Florida all time with 8,804 yards. He just played down the road here. Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt Smith.
Played also for the Gators. He went to Escambia High School back in 83 to 86. He's 33rd nationally with those yards. Willie Green played at Osceola High School. I think he was another Gator, if I'm remembering right.
I think so, yeah.
7,947 yards in his career. That's 78th nationally. And Jaquez Patrick.
Played for Florida State.
That's right. You're right. He played from 2011, 2014 at Timber Creek High School. 7,922 yards, 81st nationally. And some fun facts there that you may or may not know.
Yeah, obviously Derrick Henry was a talent. It was a shame that he left school, but yeah, it's interesting. Good stuff, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And next, I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to surprise you next week. And if you want to do some fun facts or if you want to go off with your twisted takes once again.
I may do another twisted take or two.
I like that. We try to be informational here, try to tell you stuff that you may or may not know. But we enjoy what we do here. Another week down here on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports from Culver's here in Navarre on this rainy, hopefully the last hurricane of the season. I'm ready for November to get here.
Can we just like cut and paste with hurricanes? It seemed like they took the last several just took the same path.
Well, Zeta is the last Greek name, correct?
No,
Or is there-
Alpha and the Omega. So Omega, Zeta is the like E or
Okay.
like E. So we're
I'm
still
not
in the
very
middle.
I'm not very up to speed on Greek, the Greek lingo.
It's
there.
all Greek to me.
God. But this is Irish Bill with Seminole Bob. We're here from Culver's. We're going to be back on the air Friday night over at Bennett C. Russell Stadium. And it is homecoming night for the Raiders as they host a new foe that they haven't played before, the Enterprise Wildcats, a very high-ranked team in the state of Alabama. So it should be a great night Friday night.
Yeah, I guess Alamo and National Rental Car were busy.
So you had to go with Enterprise.
Yeah, we had to go with Enterprise. Ammo
They pick you up, don't they?
They do. They may pick up some points. Saturday too. Anne Marie will be back on the camera.
Ammo.
And I apologize.
No, you did a great job.
Well, the last play, I bumped the camera and it went straight up to heaven. And I'm thinking, I bet these people think I'm actually nuts. The last play, I've got to get the camera back into focus. My apologies. But Anne Marie will be back on helping us out, and exciting times.
Most definitely. We have another great show here. Looking forward to our game on Friday night. Well, until then, this is Irish Bill. May the wind ever be at your back, and it is a windy night. This is Irish Bill signing off.
Good night, Navarre. God bless.